This is your daily briefing, and you are most welcome to it. I'm going to bring you a plausible 11 a little bit later in the day because there's quite a lot to focus our attention on beforehand. So let's get to it. Matt Law in the Telegraph. This is really concerning. In fact, all of this is about the concern that fans should have. Matt Law in the Telegraph. Some industry experts believe Daniel Levy is living in a fantasy world over the 3.5 billion he is said to have recently quoted at least one party that was interested in making a bid for the club. Just let that sink in. 3.5 billion for an as yet unproven entertainment complex with a football club that doesn't win anything as its core tenant. And those are not my words, they are the words of the head of business development at the club. The £25 million a year naming rights deal Daniel Levy had been hoping to secure after Tottenham's £1 billion stadium was opened late, almost 2.5 years ago, has so far put off prospective buyers. And I've made the point, and you tell me how I've got it wrong. Don't bore me with the a bit negative. Tell me where I've got it wrong. I think sponsors like a clarity of message. And I think you look at the Tottenham HOTSPUR Stadium, what is it? What is it? It's a shopping centre come NFL venue. It's too many things. It's too many things. And I think that clarity of message is something that sponsors really can get their teeth stuck into. And I also think that having your name above a door in the middle of nowhere in North London might not be the most exciting thing that's ever landed on anybody's desk. Just me, you know. I know there's people out there saying, oh, it'd be fabulous, it'd be amazing. But the reality is, nobody else has come forward. So maybe your insane enthusiasm. And there's a really good piece in the Sun today, and I don't do the Sun down, but I think this could be published anywhere. I think it's a really well considered piece, and it's about the Emperor's new clothes. It's about the whole big stadium thing, all fur coat, no knickers, and that is around the North London derby this weekend. North London neighbours sharing delusions of grandeur but fooling nobody but themselves. Their stadiums might be amongst the finest in Europe, but their teams are distinctly second rate now. And I've got some quotes from Tim Sherwood, from Harry Redknapp, which just show you how far off the pace some people are in their thinking. And, that's before we bring Daniel Levy or Donna Cullen into the equation. So, but supporters of both clubs are psyching themselves up for a match, which means everything from N7 to N17 and all postcodes in between. The rest of the country will just shrug off this local match as a local match for local people. And Spurs and Arsenal has indeed become a bad episode of the League of Gentlemen. What's our transfer budget, Tubbs? 12 Edward. In the grand scheme of things, Sunday's North London derby is in danger of becoming a sideshow and irrelevance. One look at the Premier League table confirms that the so-called Big Six has already been reduced to a Fab Four. Just 5 games into the new season, and Arsenal and Spurs are already off the pace that's been set by genuine title contenders. The Gunners are slowly recovering from their worst start in history, but remain light years away from challenging Chelsea, Liverpool and the Manchester Giants. Spurs started strongly, but it was a fragile start under Nuno and have since been smashed sideways by Crystal Palace and by Chelsea. So you've got teams from both ends of the table absolutely taking us apart. And in the Cup, yeah, we won, but we threw away a 2-goal lead against a team that was in 16th. And this touches upon the European Super League. And I know I've been a proponent of it. I've been somebody that said, come on, let's get all the details out. Let's talk about it. Let's not just listen to Gary Neville and throw our toys and our knickknacks out of the pram. But goodness me, I mean, obviously Leeds are struggling, but if you look at a team like Leicester City, how one might exclude them from such a proposal, given the current state of these so-called big clubs. And they don't come much more so-called than Tottenham and Arsenal these days. When European football returns to the schedule next week, Arsenal will have their feet up at home, while Spurs face some Slovenian no-marks in the UEFA Conference League, a competition which no Super League aspirants should touch with a barge pole. I mean, how you can stand there and keep a straight face and say, yeah, Tottenham are one of the biggest clubs in Europe, when you're playing in the third tier, the absolute weeds of the European competitions. And Arsenal aren't even in there. West Ham are playing in the Europa. But Arsenal, they'll be watching TV that night. Money was spent by both clubs in a desperate attempt to accelerate their recovery, but neither side really seemed to address the absolute nub of their problems. Most of Tottenham's summer efforts were spent on keeping Harry Kane out of City's clutches, and the appointment of the ultra-cautious Nuno hasn't exactly captured the imagination of a club whose motto is to dare is to do. I mean, you couldn't get further away from what's alleged to be the DNA, or the do not attack, of our club than you could with Nuno. Peri Pulis is Mourinho light. And there isn't a single one of you out there who will debate that with me. And if we were getting this football from Mourinho, then we would be getting Mourinho ball, but without the good stuff from Kane and Sonny. And so many of you watching this will be screaming for Nuno's head. Nuno out would be trending. But you know the truth. Even though in your heart of hearts, you know you're getting shortchanged with this football, you know the truth. And if you put up Nuno out, or get rid of Nuno, or I've had enough, or whatever the thing might be, you know that you're admitting that Levy has lied to you. At least their supporters know that this Sunday's Emirates clash will be anything but dull, because meetings when these two very rarely are. When it comes to excitement, incident and controversy, the North London derby is right up there with any fixture in the football calendar. But what a pity that the end result will be pretty much insignificant beyond the length of the Seven Sisters Road. And this is the thing. I mean, I can see, I'm glad it didn't happen in the Chelsea game, but I can see that this deteriorates into a bun fight, and there'll be some plastic argy-bargy for the mindless fans to get behind. Bit of pushing, a bit of shoving. He said, she said. Oh, whoops, there's my handbag. And that brings us neatly on to dementia. Nuno Espirito Santo has said that he has ignored the guidance on heading restrictions in training, and the Football Association and the English Game's other major bodies announced in July that players ought to be limited to 10 higher force headers a week in training. I only mention that as a cruel and nasty way of then teeing us up to quotes from Redknapp and Sherwood, because whilst dementia is not something to be taken lightly, these two might benefit from a check-up from the neck up. Redknapp, who managed Spurs from 2008 to 2012, told Sun Sport, "The Tottenham job is a fantastic job. Oh my God, I am dreaming of it. A megabucks new stadium, a fantastic training ground, and superstars in the squads. Just shoot me in the face, get it over with. Wow, being the manager of that club is a really great job." Well, that isn't actually true, is it, Harry? Because I know for a fact that you were fired over a video call. So you must have some really strong self-belief to look back at Spurs and think it's a great club. Because it didn't treat you very well. Nuno is a good man and a great manager, offering exciting, free-flowing, attacking football. But when your side gets beat, it's not natural for a few cracks to show. I think he's had one too many roly-poly to the coconut there. And Tim Sherwood, this is another guy who probably wonders why he's no longer involved in football management. And I wonder why. Let's see if you can spot anything here. Both teams' recruitment has been terrible. Both clubs are signing average foreign players that block up pathways to their academy players, and I don't agree with that. It's not healthy. I can't remember the last time they signed a really good player. It's been so long. I really can't put my finger on any recent signings and say, yeah, he's been a brilliant signing. Tottenham's best recent signing would be Son Heung-min, but you're going way back there. Højbjerg is all right, with the style Jose Mourinho wanted to play, and certainly the way Nuno wants to play. But for every half-decent signing, you've probably got 5 not very good ones, and here's the advice. My advice would be to go and win a cup. I'd almost understand resting players in the Premier League, he added. They won't be relegated and their fans want something to cheer for. So go and win a domestic cup. You can't forget about the league, of course not, but I prioritise domestic cup competitions. Tottenham could prioritise the Europa Conference League. Whoever finishes above each other, they're going to be in 7th or 8th. It depends how the club value that. Daniel Levy at Tottenham would say we need to be in Europe in the Europa League or the Champions League. What an absolute load of cuckoo. But you can see where I'm going with this. And this isn't, and this is all not breaking, but this is all today's news. Tottenham are light years away from being a club that's worth 3.5 billion. Anythings. Shekels, goat hooves, potato peelings. But Levy lives in this absolute fantasy land, as Matt Law told us. So tomorrow should be a big game, and I can feel the pre-match nerves starting to kick in. They always do. Chelsea started almost 2 days before the actual game. But to the outside world, how important is this tie? How relevant is it? Either side could win 10-0 and it wouldn't do anything dramatic to the table. Although it would improve both sides who've got an appalling goal difference. Anyway, I'll be back later with the team, and I think the theme of that clip is going to be that Nuno just has to pick his best 11. And I wonder how long a manager can keep doing that when he's playing in 3 competitions, in 4 if you count there'll be another cup turn up on the horizon at some point. But if you think about Europe, the league, the Carabao Cup, and then we'll have the FA Cup turn up, as I say, how long can Tottenham keep playing their best 11 without any problems? Because they're unable to rotate. Because whenever they rotate, they weaken. Good luck, and despite them, keep it Tottenham.